jump in with
Yes.
girls.
Okay, so what I thought we would do today, instead of big book study, since I have, the honor and privilege of having Carla as our guest, and I don't often do this, and I don't want to make it about me, not in any shape or form, trust me. But I thought that I would tell you a little bit about me so that you can get an idea of how I wound up in the position I'm in now. A little bit, okay? And then Carla is the former director of Women in Distress. That's how we met. So together, we have some useful information for you. Does that sound okay? All right, because I'm old, and my memory is bad, and I used for a long time. So no, I don't often tell my story because it's like I could write a book, you know what I mean? But for sure, I know that I was born into a broken lifestyle. Broken from day one, for sure. And I never wanted to use drugs and alcohol because I saw what it did to other people. And I was one of those kids. You might relate to this. I don't know. I never wanted to be like that because I hated it. I hated it. But I didn't know who I was. But I knew for sure I wasn't who I was supposed to be. And I knew for sure I wasn't anything like they expected me to be. So I was having an identity crisis from the get-go. And more. I always wanted more. It wasn't drugs and alcohol yet, it was chocolate. It was always something. I was always restless and irritable and discontent. I wasn't okay with sitting for 5 minutes. I had to do something. I was bored. And then I turned 12, and I was like this, as big as I am now. And I didn't fit in. But I found that I fit in with the older boys, and I tasted beer, and I blacked out, threw up, I was drunk, and my friends dragged me home, rang the doorbell, ran away, and I couldn't wait to do that again. I don't even remember blaming anybody for my alcohol and drug problems because that meant if I blamed somebody, drugs and alcohol was a problem. And that was my best friend. I wanted to make the drink and drug work for me, somehow. Only I carried that for decades. I see a lot of you, young people, and I'm so proud. I'm crying. It's the minority really that make it. But I'll go into a meeting where like a 22-year-old or a 26-year-old is speaking and I'm like blown away. Because it took me another 3 decades of misery. So I never really blamed the drugs and alcohol because it worked for me for a long time. Until, that I smoked crack once for 5 years. That didn't work out well for me because it brought me to, doing stuff I swore I'd never do. Walking the street, prostituting, not using protection, going home to the boyfriend that I love so much, not even caring if I was giving him a STD, you know what I mean? And getting pregnant, really not knowing who the father was, but picking the best option. Because, like, oh, we're pregnant, that's how my thinking was, And I was always out, I was trying to fix me, and I was always taking a hostage to fix them. You know what I mean? Fast forward, I was smoking crack, and I found heroin. And I was like, miracle! Like, woo! For me it was different. I could clean, I could cook, I could be part of society. It didn't do things to me that would normally do to other people, like make them throw up or sleep, but they hated it. And I was like, I can't believe I ever messed with that, cocaine. I hated it. So it was always alcohol and heroin for me. Bad. I remember clearly having the best intentions to be sober, though. I really did. Like, I knew something was wrong. And I was introduced to the rooms really early, like 84. But everybody was too happy, and they were all dressed nice, And you know, they were probably, I'm from Long Island, so they were like suburbia and a little clique, and I would see the steps on the wall, which were Russian to me, Chinese. You know, at once it was a 3-step program, I never saw the rest. You know, and then I was in the parking lot drinking, or, you know, I couldn't even socialize. So that kept me in and out for a long time, and then that word, God. I didn't want to hear about God. I just wanted to do enough. Listen to me, because maybe you can relate to this. I just wanted to do enough. Look good, sound good, get the boyfriend back, get the kids back, get the license, maybe get a car. I always lived with my mother, but maybe get an apartment. Just enough. Materialistic stability, because then I wouldn't need to rely or trust God. Why would I need to rely on God if I was doing just enough, got the material stuff back, and that word, you know, like antipathy. Poof, I didn't want to do it. And I always say this, and you guys know this. If I repeat myself and I annoy you, I'm sorry. But self-reliance reminded me of how inadequate I really am. It never worked for me. One more attempt, one more failure. That's how I lived my life, you know? So, and I was always with my mother, my greatest enabler, my running buddy. But my mother got sober, and I expected that she would drink with me. You know what I'm saying? I didn't understand. I just didn't. And she never did again. And when she was 40, well, I think I was 46, she was like 67. She had an aneurysm, and she died. And I didn't take it well at all. I have got 3 kids who she was raising, right? You guys know this, right? I'm a mom. What? My kids don't deserve the type of mother I was. I didn't even pick up a needle till I was in my 40s. And I knew I was in trouble. And the best option to me was to be in the grave with my mom. This thing, this disease, alcohol, drugs, whatever your problem is, it's all the same, more, is so cunning, so baffling, and so powerful, you will never beat it. Ever. You know, and we're not playing let's make a deal here. There's no option number 3. Okay? You're either going to crawl your way to the bitter end, or you're going to accept spiritual help. So, at the very end, my mother was dead. 6 months almost to the day, I was trying to commit suicide. Didn't work. I overdosed. And my 15-year-old daughter found me. She wasn't even supposed to be home from school that day. She came home early. Mommy's blue and dead in the sunroom. And she calls my son and she goes, Mommy's dead. And my son must have called the paramedics. And they came. And they put me on, I was on life support and I was in a coma. And the doctors told my kids, they visited me like that, make arrangements, your mom's not coming home. And I lived. And they Baker acted me for trying to commit suicide. And that was in August of 2012. Here's how insidious that is. That's not a clean date. A clean date is October 1st, 2012. Because I still saw a benefit in using. I still wanted to make the drugs work for me. I was so sick. I couldn't shampoo my hair, nothing. I had to be helped everywhere. I can't even tell you, it was horrible. Okay, fast forward even more. This is the short version. The day I got sober. Beautiful day, sunny, morning, birds are chirping. Something I couldn't ever tolerate. You know it is, like the birds are chirping, like go away, I just want darkness. And I had surrendered a few times before, but this was different. I'm not sure how I can describe it, but I knew that I couldn't live with drugs and alcohol anymore. Ever. Like I couldn't even imagine putting a sip a pill, a shot, nothing. But I didn't know how to live without it. Right? So the sun is shining. I qualified for every anonymous program. But I got a thought in my head that said, AA is going to save your life. And as sick as I was, I knew there was no more hospitals, no more detoxes, no more rehabs, no more psych wards. My mom was gone, the kids were gone. The house was gone. I had 2 plastic Publix bags, literally. I crawled into AA, and I'm filled with shame, all right? Filled with guilt, because I'm the hopeless variety. I was going to meetings stoned. I wasn't the one that said, oh, I can't go there, they're gonna know. No, I went every day stoned. I sat in the back, spilled my coffee, and just swore to them that I was okay, I was just tired. So they were on to me. They knew. So I go in there, and guess what? They're genuinely glad I lived. They clapped for me, and they gave me my last white chip. And I knew it was my last white chip. Hollywood, 4D, 4 dimensions. And I was in a very abusive relationship. Maybe you can relate to this even. I had always been in an abusive relationship. But at most times, I thought I deserved it. Like, I didn't even know. I thought that was normal. I probably did something where I deserved it. But thinking back now, the abusive relationship I was in now, I cannot tell you I deserved it. Physically or mentally or verbally. Nothing about it I deserved. So I called women in distress. And I don't know how, but I passed the questionnaire. And they said, you need to get your stuff and come right away. And John Donahue, I don't even know if you know him, from the 4th Dimensions, loaded up his little minivan. Like, this guy is like God to me now. You know what I'm saying? Took me out of Hollywood. And they told me to come to a safe place, and they were gonna like move me from there. And they didn't. That was the place. And scared, you know, and I was able to get one of my daughters. She was the 15-year-old, not the other one. And for me, it was like the stairway to heaven. We had a room, we had a kitchen, I had some food. I was able to finally, I didn't even unpack, I was so scared, you know? But it was in the middle of nowhere, and it's a 6-week program, and I'm sick, I'm 46 years old. How am I gonna get my kids, my life, get a job in 6 weeks when I can't? So I walk to AA. I find a meeting and I sit there every day. My home group today is up online. And I'm Gina, I got 30 days. I'm Gina, like collecting, and I'm proud of me because I never, 30 days? I couldn't even get 30 minutes. And I go every day, and I go 3 times a day. I'm there every day, and I'm sitting and I'm crying. And Miss Carla is sitting in a meeting every week, fighting for me, which I didn't even know. They wanted me to leave every week, and I had nowhere to go. I had nowhere to go. I think I was there 4.5 months. I think I had 5 months clean. What was her name, Janet?
The therapist?
Yeah. My therapist, Janet, she goes, well, what do you think about going to Susan B. Anthony? And I'm like, yep, I'm all there. Not a hesitation. But I'm clean. I'm like, did I have to relapse to get in? I didn't know what to do. And I got accepted. And now, you know, I'm older than a lot of you now, you know what I mean? And I got to get all my children back when we came here, and I promise you, I followed all the rules. I didn't know there was any drama going on. And this book became my life. I had to sponsor myself because women didn't want to come here. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure I intimidated people. And, you know, speakers
Come on.
would take their time, and she knows where I live, from farther, and come here for an hour to speak, and I would be like, but it says on page 62. You know, it was just horrible. But I was secretly sponsoring girls, and there's some of them are dead. And then I was able to graduate, and the rest is history. My life, you know, is about comforting others. And I was just talking to Miss C, you know, I don't make a lot of money in my field, But God gives me unlimited zeros. So I seem to have found the secret. It seems to be a secret. The most unread bestseller, by the way. The secret is God uses all of our pain, all of our suffering, and all of our experiences so we can comfort others. That was it. I follow a few simple rules. They're not here, but let's pretend they are. A few simple rules. And I'm not powerless anymore. And I have God. We talked about this. You know, the God. God. My God's handsome, by the way. And I did a lot of heavy house cleaning. And I shared. And I became accountable. And I made heavy amends, heavy restitution. I'm still making it. And I take a daily inventory of me. And I could promptly say I'm wrong. You know, and the girls I sponsor tell me I'm helping them so much, and I'm crying. Because if it wasn't for them, you saved my life on a daily basis. So I'm able to utilize the tools, the vehicles of prayer and meditation. I communicate with God, and I listen for the answer, and He doesn't always put me in comfortable situations. But I know I'm here to serve His purposes, wherever that may be. And that's what I do. And today I can carry a message, not the mess. And I do that on a daily basis. So here's the bottom line. The goal of recovery, and this is important, you can write this down. The goal of recovery is to never use again. Why? Because we can never safely use again. We have an allergy. Once we set off the allergy with one is too many, thousands never enough, we activate the allergy and we're obligated to continue using against our will. In spite of what we want. It's not over till the gorilla says it's over, kind of thing. Right? But the philosophy of AA is we do it one day at a time. And AA is practical. It's compatible. My friends are Jewish. My friends are black. My friends are Islamic. My friends are atheists. My friends are short, fat, old, young. Right? So it's not a religious program, but being spiritual happens to be practical for people like us, where there's no more human solution. The coffee pot is not going to give you a spiritual awakening. We're going to wake up our spirits, girls, because a moment of clarity is fleeting. What do you want? Right? What do you want? Whew. So, you know what? In 11 days, I'm going to have 5 years. Woo! I never thought. Yeah. I'm crying. It's a gift. But I got the privilege and honor. Miss C came to visit me. She's on vacation from Massachusetts. And for me, 5 years later, this is like the biggest honor and privilege. Maybe she doesn't even know what this means to me. It's huge. Huge. So I would like to give Miss C to you guys. And, hopefully we both have some valuable information that's going to help you recreate your life. Because if you're looking for your old one back, you're going to get it. And you're going to be sitting here again, if you make it. Right? So welcome, Miss C.